back to the weekend debate, and with our guests, we're going to talk about TT particularly because obviously we've got two people very much involved in that side of things. Let's start with you, Peter, though. I mean, it's been your lifeblood and your dad's lifeblood, of course, you know, from actually being in the thing and then becoming such a major part of it. Tell us how it was for you at that moment when they said there's no TT, you know, for that first thing when they pulled the plug.
On a duty fan, mother of God moment, really. It was, it was quite a blow to say the least. I've been through a few experiences in my life, and that's definitely one of the worst in business terms. Get the spreadsheets out, do the figures, sit down with my finance controller and say, well, what do we do next? You know, how do we summarise the effects? Both for our internal, how do we survive was really the number one question. How do we maintain the structure of the business without sort of losing the whole warehouse or losing whole chunks of the business, which would then, you know, we'd cease to be a sort of successful. We could see e-commerce would probably survive, okay, and actually we had a bit of a lift on selling things, both videos and TT clothing. We had a bit of a boost on that in the beginning of the pandemic, but the travel thing just went to zero. And then the big debate, and we originally forecast, I don't know about you, but we thought that 50% of people would want an immediate refund, and that's another mother of God moment sort of thing. You know, we hadn't, fortunately, most of our bookings do sit in trust, but the whole process of getting just processing refunds, almost the conclusion of the first day's analysis was, we're going to have to hire so many extras just to process refunds. I mean, it's and then you think, where do we get the money to do that? You know, it was quite a tricky time.
But did most people decide to push it up to the next year?
Yes, we fairly rapidly found that it was at least 75% carry forward. And we probably have improved on that slightly in the second lockdown because we refunded 25% and then resold it coming up to 21. We got back up to 80% full in some, you know, peak days and all the rest of it.
You're moving things forward, but are you putting them at the same price as before? And
we haven't adjusted prices at all.
They would normally expect to go up, wouldn't you, a bit each year? Have to go up?
Well,
so you can't do that?
You would, if you've got strong demand, yes, I would expect prices to rise. But no, we haven't. Anybody who booked is still paying what some people booked in 2019, obviously, quite a lot did. They're still going to come in 22 for that price, which we're quite comfortable with that. But, you know, the numbers were a challenge, to say the least. So it was a case of analyse, quantify, do the what-ifs, and then, yes, fairly early on, talk to government, say, are you going to be able to help us? Are you going to help us? And generally speaking, they were positive. They weren't saying, we'll give you, you know, enough money to pay the wages.
How's that happen?
The £280 a week was a great initial sign. That was a chunk of our...
Did you go to government separately to say, look, this is our business, it's very unique,
Absolutely.
We're very much partners with you, we need this particular help.
We're the TT problem, you know. Yes. There's other people as well, absolutely, lots of other businesses almost totally dependent on TT business, anything from you know, some of the caterers even. So we did yes, approach government with, here's our situation, this is the impact of us, we're losing video product, we're losing other events as well. Le Mans was cancelled at that time, it did come back later, but video rights were disappearing. You know, MotoGP may not have even happened. Even Formula One was looking in doubt, so we're thinking even our video business could be at serious risk here. Right. But we've got, you know, we can only stay in the TT travel business if we have some government support. But the £280 a week was a major help, to say the least. That gave us a buffer at a time when we then really worked hard at our e-commerce side to try and sell some more clothing, TT clothing. You know,
you said there the clothing went up, did it initially?
It did very significantly, yes.
What was it, dated of the year or something? So people getting themselves a sort of
there was some 21 products which the Motorsport Merchandise had, so they were very helpful in sort of saying, well let's do a special deal on the 21 dated stuff. But most of the products are not dated, and there's still significant stocks held by Motorsport Merchandise, who another local company. They still have significant stocks which they are holding for 22. You know, but the 2020 and 21 products have gone. You know, it's the 21 stuff anyway. So yes, that was moved on, and generally the message we have 250,000 people on our database of email database for TT fans, and another 60,000 Duke sort of video type customers. So quite big. You know, we can talk to a lot of people.
That's a great mailing
list. So we
list
went out to the TT fans, said support the TT.
Yeah,
go down if you might be locked down, but if you do go out, wear a TT t-shirt. So that worked reasonably well. And yes, people weren't coming to the TT, but they thought, let's wear the gear,
Okay.
So that was good. The negatives were then just massive for 2 years.
Yeah.
We went, at that time, of course, we weren't expecting 1 year.
Oh, let's do that. So one year...
was in the hundreds of thousands of pounds of profit we weren't going to make.
How much preparation were you making for this year before it got pulled then?
Well, we got all our bookings in place, a bit like you, I guess. You'd probably got to 80-90% full.
You got your port cabins in order and everything like that?
Yeah, absolutely. It was in place. The supplier there was wasn't too rigorous on was able to carry forward. We were quite fortunate. We had good relations with most of our suppliers. Steam Packet, fortunately, I think they're already government owned anyway. Their policy was very good. They refunded. If we needed to refund a customer, we could get the refund off the Steam Packet.
I mean, since foot and mouth, and then obviously the war, there hasn't been this sort of interruption at all, has there? So this was big.
No. The foot and mouth had lost year, 2001.
And it was a half loss, wasn't it? Because people still came, but they weren't allowed to watch racing.
I think 14,000, still came. Yeah. It was certainly over 10,000 anyway came. So it wasn't quite so catastrophic. We weren't the official TT travel agent then either. Right. So we weren't in the middle of so many arrangements, So it was a big challenge.
Okay. We'll look forward in a minute. I just want to get the same thing from you. I mean, we've touched on it already, but, this is... The day you heard that the TT was off, did you go for a little walk on the prom or something?
I think the writing was already on the wall that you couldn't really see how they could run it. However, I was optimistic that would be classic TT, MGP would all be on and we'd still get a summer at that stage, but that wasn't to be. And then, as we know, it's the following year's gone the same way. But I don't see how it could have been done any differently.
Well, they could have run it in a sense without anybody here, or they could have got the bikers in maybe and done something. Oh, is that the way? It really falls down.
It requires sort of 1,500, at least 1,200 people to sign as marshals, going on 1,500.
There's that many.
There's many other volunteers who and even paid staff, but the cost of running a TT are pretty high. But the spectators actually don't really add any cost at all.
I was going to say it, because most of the marshals come over because they're volunteering to do this.
Yeah, there's the old grandstand set up for spectators. Apart from that, there would have been no cost saving whatsoever to the government. So we'd have had a vast cost and nobody here.
Okay, so TT1 gone, then this year's. I think that says it all, really. I mean, I'm asking the obvious question. It's a stupid question, I know, really. But
we had a very strange situation, really, because we'd actually, as far as we were concerned, we'd actually sold our business.
Oh yeah.
So, in a weird way, it kind of got us out of explaining to all our customers that we weren't going to be there. And now we are going to be there for 2022. So.
Was that related to TT being pulled? I mean, I don't go into details that you don't want to talk about, but the sale fell through. Was it related to the fact is there's no tourists coming in, so I don't really want to take on a hotel?
No, it was actually online gaming. An online gaming provider.
They were going to take it over to put all their people in.
Yeah.
Oh, so it wouldn't be no longer a hotel?
No.
Right.
So in some ways, that being pulled because. We would prefer to sell it as a hotel.
Yeah.
But...
So would I. We need hotel beds in the Isle of Man.
It is scary, isn't it, how we keep losing hotels. But only at certain times of year. What do you think, Christina? Have you got views on this?
It's a difficult one when you have something that has such large overheads and a very short, full season. The way round it would be to try and extend that holiday season as much as possible. But again, I suppose lockdown and this COVID time has been good thinking and planning time. You can diversify and think of new and exciting things to do to get more people all year round.
Well, yeah, so I mean, say vacationers, how do you do there?
Well, the state of Douglas at the moment, and last year...
You're not quite on the prom, though, but
we weren't faced with the problems of them starting at 7 o'clock in the morning, and people and at the weekend, people had come to, I know, places on the promenade, and that had happened where the people who were running the places were faced with angry guests about the promenade works. So no, we weren't directly affected by that.
We'll come back to promenade hopefully a bit later. So
and I do know that out of town venues have done extremely well through staycation. We did okay. We did mainly at the weekend, but in no way was it any kind of.
Yeah, I mean, you can't resource a hotel just for weekends really very well, can you?
No, it was a difficult year, and frustrating and weird, because you had almost to commit as much time to it, but a lot of the time you weren't actually, and you couldn't do anything else really, but you were just there, and it was a very odd year. I'm hoping beyond hope that this one doesn't pan out the same way.
The only odder could have been the internment camp situation in World War II, when all the hoteliers were told to get out and put their stuff in the Lido or whatever, and get out for the whole duration. That must have been, anyway, next to that. But Peter.
I think looking ahead, the Isle of Man is potentially a fantastic destination, which will have a great few years, not just TT, but generally as a tourist destination. But
it's the world's best kept secret.
Well, yeah, there is that. It's under-marketed, I still believe, but it will find, people will find it if it's because it's UK. It's relatively easy to get to. You don't have to go through an airport. You can come on a ferry, which I would say is probably a lower risk level, bearing in mind arrivals halls and all the problems of airports and safety. But the bit missing from the sort of tourism plan, I think, at the moment is what criteria is the Isle of Man going to apply when we do open the gates, open the borders entirely. You know, the number one topic surely around the world in travel is, do you only accept vaccinated people or not? Will you accept them on your plane? There's several airlines not accepting unless you're vaccinated or double tested, etc. But proper measures in place. And of course that has a massive plus for anybody who's thinking of going. Might put a few people off who don't want to be vaccinated and don't want to be tested. Sorry, we're not for you. But if you're going to somewhere where the great majority, or the population and the visitors there are vaccinated or tested, then you're going to feel very, very attracted to that place.
Well, next to Israel, we're up there, aren't we? That's what we keep being told.
Exactly.
Iceland.
So
Iceland.
We haven't set that plan out yet, and that's a little bit. We're going to open the borders, but without any criteria.
And it does feel slightly like, you look at the papers, you look on the internet, and everywhere seems to be mentioned as a destination. All the destinations are really up in the game. Even Australia, who are not even accepting anybody at the moment, advertising quite heavily, and we don't seem to be. I might be wrong in this, but I had a quick look before I came for the 2021 marketing strategy, and it might be me that's rubbish at looking, but I couldn't find it.
Is that online on the internet?
Yeah.
You couldn't find anything.
I looked at the visitor agency and any emails that I'd had from the agency, and like I said, we
can come back to this a bit more about, because the promenade I wanted to bit with you because I thought about it. But can we just finish with the TT on this section, the future of it? And everyone have an input, please, on this one. But Peter, you with your crystal ball first.
Well, the TT is an amazing motorsport event, where demand greatly exceeds supply, and an awful lot of motorsport events don't have that success. It's a problem for us because of demand, the capacity of constraints of the ferries and indeed flights, but particularly ferries, and accommodation. Those are the limiting factors. But we still have an incredibly successful event. It costs a net cost of 2 or 3 mil to put on, which is buttons by the standards of an international event. And it brings...
Does it only cost 1 to 2 mil? Yeah, they spent $1 million this year with no racing. I was a bit puzzled on that one.
Well, there's a government department to be paid for and a lot of public employees. And there are some, to be fair, there are obviously costs of maintaining things.
£1 million. That's what it roughly came out, didn't it? And that's what was released.
I think if it was wholly commercial, it wouldn't have cost £1 million. Put it that way. If I could put it that way.
You'll be careful.
But,
That's the trouble. You've got business with the government.
Yeah. Anyway,
but
no, it's a great product. It has this capacity limitation that caps the number of people staying here, and at about the 25 to 30 million at peak day, the middle Sunday. In total, 45,000 coming and spending over £40 million on an event that has a net cost of 2 or 3 mil. Is a phenomenal
good return.
Phenomenal.
You believe these figures though? Then where do you get these from?
Yeah.
Where do they make these up?
We surveyed,
not make them up. Where do they get them from?
In 2007, we got a survey of over 7,000 people. We asked them what they spent.
You did?
The average was £800 in 2007, and that was 47,000 came.
And what's the £800 go on? Because it's a can of beans from the local Spar shop.
I always say the steam packet, bless them, which is coming down now. They collect the entry fee to the TT. It's £300 for a bike and a rider and stuff.
Okay.
And it's the single for a car and 2 people. There's £250.
Yes.
Even
because they're not
this right now.
You're right. Actually, that's a very good way of putting it.
They collect the entry fee. Without them collecting an entry fee, we'd have less ferries and we'd be paying more for our ferries the rest of the year, probably. But that's the way it goes. I'm still a great believer. If the demand is there, then you charge it. The bit that I don't that I disagree with some elements of shape, perhaps steam packet pricing policy, is that it's still too expensive to come in practice week, and that needs to be. They are working on it. We got some taste.
Well, of course, it is now government owned, which I'm sure it makes a huge difference, doesn't it? That they can do things.
It should do, and and people coming to Isle of Man spend money here. So we want people here. We need to have 20,000 people here by the Monday, Tuesday of practice week. And practice week needs to be rebranded qualifying week, which it is slowly being rebranded because it's qualifying. And if you think of Silverstone having nearly as many people there on Saturday as Sunday, qualifying day as race day, the TT qualifying week is a great it's a best kept secret. We're advertising a campaign at the end of the month to that effect. The TT's best kept secret. Come and bring your bike right down the course while it's all day, while it's quiet, and in the evening sit down with a pint in your hand, park the bike up, and have a brilliant night watching the races. Watching the qualifying. I'm
not being slightly rude here, but Michael, I'm guessing prices go up doing TT. Everyone has to make their money when they can, don't they?
Yeah, we've probably been a bit daft over the years. Commercially, probably why we still get the same people coming every year. I always worried that killing the goose that laid the golden egg by overpricing. On the other hand, I think we probably don't charge enough. I think somewhere in the middle.
That's what your accountant, no doubt, says to you.
Somewhere in the middle, there's probably a balance.
Has it got a future, the TT? That's what to wrap this up.
For sure, I would say.
Yeah.
The demand is there. People want it.
Yeah.
I think all of us coming from the Isle of Man, we take the TT for granted. We were brought up with it. It's like, oh yeah, the TT's on. What's on television? Even, we don't understand what a huge event it is for enthusiasts across the world, and what a pilgrimage it is to actually come to the Isle of Man, and a badge of honour to say,
pilgrimage.
I've been to the Isle of Man and I've seen the TT. It's people absolutely love it, and I absolutely believe
it's the top of a lot of bucket lists.
It is.
Getting the pictures out there. I mean, I hear there's all sorts of media changes coming up. Anything you can tell us about the broadcast rights,
I'm
for
not
instance?
Directly involved, but obviously
big changes, right?
Well, the big question mark, which I've advocated really looking at for 2 or 3 years now, is obviously to go live. It's most likely live on the internet, which is a perfectly acceptable way to broadcast and
live with a 15-second delay or 10 seconds or something.
with a delay. I mean, all the broadcasts actually already have delay. Any broadcast of anything to do with motorcycle racing tends to have a delay on it. But TT, yes, that would apply. It's being looked at. The costs have come down from several million, probably 5 years ago, to do the TT live into the hundreds of thousands.
But it's an event that's so. For broadcasters, it must be a nightmare because it's worse than Wimbledon now. They've got the roof on their thing now, haven't they?
I think it really only works properly as an internet product. When it's on, you watch it.
And can you get money off people to watch on the internet?
I'm pretty convinced you can.
You can.
Yeah, I'm sure we...
Because every time someone does that, someone makes an illegal stream and then they share that with other people, and next minute it's everywhere.
Yeah, you do get ripped off. So even though, the Premier League do a pretty good job of boxing that off nowadays, but yes, you can still... get around that if you really try hard. But no, you can box most of it off. And the sort of client base we're going for, it's not like a series. It's just there'll be 4 days racing.
Is it happening? Is it happening? I mean, what the live TT?
Well, it's certainly been costed. It's been looked at. It's part of a potential next step for the TT. I think if nothing else, it would transform the spectator experience around the track. Because you only see people.
Because you could see what's coming up.
You only see the rider 6 times, or 3 or 4 times, and but
I must
live
admit,
TV,
not being a TT person, that does kind
live
of
TV on your phone or on the screen across the road. You could follow the whole thing. I mean, imagine it transformed the whole thing for the spectator.
You sit at the grandstand, everything's 15 seconds behind. It's going to be very odd, but anyway, there you go.
That is quite a debating point.
Yeah,
it doesn't have to be 15. I think.
No, 10, is it 10?
10, I think. Yeah, 5.
Just
to
not
10.
for
5
anything.
to 10 has been mooted.
Because let's face it. I mean, you've got massive issues there, haven't you? This is a sport. We're going down another avenue, but there's a future there anyway.
Technology is on our side. It's much lower cost to deliver with Greenlight. We chipped in actually to do successful tests of technology, which gave live pictures from the helicopter.
I saw
and
that.
from on board we know is doable, but the helicopter was literally only one part of
and you had it in the VIP tent,
of the mountain.
beaming pictures in?
Yeah, it was fantastic. Was that recorded? Nope, it's live.
It was awesome.
It was a very low-key test, and it was successful, it proved. There was just one place, I think, around Keppel Gate, which just lost signal off the chopper, which seems to be a strange reason.
So just wraps up 2022, get my dates right. Yes, we're on, it's bigger, better, you're going to be full, you're going to be doing whatever, and brand commissioners will be renting out whatever they rent out.
Indeed.
Yeah. There you go.
Campsite.
Part 3 coming up in a few minutes.